What up, YouTube? Team Movies here with Gemini Man hitting theaters this week. Since it is produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who I think is one of the best producers like in the film business. Like he's never really directed a film before, not that I know of, obviously, but he is more like a major, big time producer. Like he's produced some really classic films. He produced some iconic flicks. And he's also done like TV work, but I'm only going to talk about his film work instead. So, with that being said, here's my top 10 favorite Jerry Bruckheimer produced films. Alright, coming in at number 10 is Armageddon. Now, this is probably one of my favorite sci-fi movies of that year, of the 90s. Armageddon, of course, introduced us to, I don't want to close. You guys remember that song. I'm not going to sing it, yeah. But, yeah, Armageddon has a really killer soundtrack. I mean, I gotta re-listen to that song again. It's an iconic song right there. And I mean, you got Ben Affleck, you got Billy Bob Thornton, Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Steve Buscemi. I think Owen Wilson was, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, really, probably one of the best casts I've seen to a sci-fi film. Now, it's more of a guilty pleasure than great, but I get a kick out of Armageddon. The space intermission is pretty cool. The astronaut uniforms I quite like. Cool story. I mean, you got these astronauts who's pretty much trying to detonate a nuclear bomb in outer space and all. It's great. If you guys never really seen Armageddon by now, give it a go. It's of course directed by Michael Bay, so there's that. Now, I actually got a couple of Michael Bay movies in this list, by the way, because Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay has worked together lots of times. And Armageddon is definitely one of them. Alright, coming in at number 9 is going to National Treasure. Now, directed by John Turteltaub, who also recently gave us The Meg. National Treasure, it is a Disney, it's actually probably one of my, one of the coolest Disney films there is. You got Nicolas Cage, who plays this historian and cone breaker named Ben Gates, who pretty much has been searching for his rumored treasure dating back to the creation of the U.S. and all. And so he is joined by this fellow treasure hunt named Ian Ho, played by Sean Bean. Spoiler: Sean Bean doesn't die in this, so there's that. Anyway, and so Gates also find this ice locked ship in the Arctic Circle that's containing a clue linking the treasure and the Declaration of Independence and all. And you also had Diane Kruger, John Voight was in this. Who else was in National Treasure? Oh yeah, the dude played Doug in the Hangover films. He's also in this. National Treasure it's really fun. It's one of Disney's most coolest films. And Jerry Bruckheimer, of course, worked with Disney a lot of times before. And of course, they also had National Treasure 2, which was pretty decent, but not as good as the first film. Now, there's, of course, been talks about National Treasure 3, but God knows if that's ever going to happen. If they do National Treasure 3, I think it's going to be Disney Plus, not in theaters, but we'll see. Anyway, coming in at number 8 is another fun action film, and that goes to Con Air. I mean, this also features Nicolas Cage in it. Nicolas Cage with one of the craziest hairdo you see. I mean, this is really a Die Hard on a pretty much in the air and all. You also got John Cusack is in this as the U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin. You got Ving Rhames. The aforementioned Steve Buscemi is in this. Con Air is loads of fun. Directed by the always cool Simon West. He did a great job with this film. It has some really great action sequences. The air cart scene in the air is pretty cool to watch. I mean, Con Air, it is it is one of the most dumbest movies of the 90s, but it's pretty fun to watch. If you guys never seen Con Air, give it a go. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll still be down to see a sequel to this. I can't remember who wants to do a sequel. I think it's either Steve Buscemi or probably could be Nicolas Cage. I said that they want to do a sequel to this. I'm Oh no, I think it was David Harbour who said he wants. No, not a sequel. It was David Harbour recently. He said that he wants to like reboot Con Air, which I'll be down to see one. All right, coming in at number 7 is actually one of Bruckheimer's like earliest work, and that is producing the film American Gigolo. Now this is directed by Paul Schrader, who also did the script for Taxi Driver, and he directed that Ethan Hawke film, First Reform. Pretty cool director and screenwriter. And it's where like Richard Gere, plays like this guy named Jillian, who pretty much like makes a living as a escort to older women. I mean, he's a gigolo, so. And he also begins with this a relationship with this woman named Michelle, who's like this politician's wife. And so one day, like one of his client ends up getting murdered, and the detectives end up beginning pumping him up for like details, and also they gotta try to find out you know who's like responsible for the murder. I mean, American Gigolo, it's a crazy film, and it is one of like Richard Gere's earliest roles too. So there's that. I mean, it's a real like I've already talked about American Gigolo when I was doing like my 10 favorite Richard Gere movies not so long ago, and it's a really good one. I mean, it's a cool murder mystery film. They don't make Gigolo-based movies like the same one. I mean, if you really want to look at it, it is like a slightly like a male version of Pretty Woman. I mean, not saying that because Richard Gere's in both of them, but yeah, it has some pretty good cast members in this. Hector Elizondo is also in this. So speaking of Pretty Woman, yeah, American Gigolo is really good. If you guys haven't seen it, give that one a shot. All right. Coming in at number 6 is another Disney film produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and that is the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Now, I'm not really over the head of the pirate movies as most people are, but I really get a kick out of them. Now, the last few has been just okay. They're not really the best, but I really get a kick out of them. It is based on a Disney theme park, which when you think of it, a film based on like a Disney theme park sounds a little dumb. But man, they really, Disney, Gore Verbinski, and all really made it work. Like Johnny Depp, he is Captain Jack Sparrow. Like I can't really think of anybody who could really replace Captain Jack Sparrow more than Johnny Depp could. Of course, you got Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley. They got some really great villains, like David Jones, played by Bill Nye, was one of the villains in the second one. Javier Bardem played one of the villains. I mean, this thing has some really cool villains in this, and it is pretty fun to watch. The special effects are pretty cool. Crazy to think, I believe the original Pirates of the Caribbean got released in 2001, so crazy to think that in 2021 it's going to be 20 years old. So, boy. Anyway, now speaking of Michael Bay, coming in at number 5 is The Rock. Now, The Rock also stars, also features Nick Cage. You also got Sean Connery. You got Ed Harris. William Forsythe is in this. I mean, it's pretty much like it is also like Die Hard in a prison, if you want to look at it that way. It's a really great 90s action film. It's also pretty dumb, I admit, there. But it's pretty cool to watch. I mean, who doesn't love a good prison-based movie? And The Rock, it's seriously a film that really still holds up today. And if you have any doubts of how awesome Michael Bay could be, go watch The Rock. I know lots of people hate on Michael Bay because Transformers and all. Like Michael Bay's kind of a hold on. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Michael Bay is a laughing stock with the film fandom because of Transformers and all. But man, Michael Bay's earliest films, whether you talk about The Rock, Armageddon, or another film I'm going to talk about a little later on, Michael Bay's awesome. I don't care what anyone says. I'm a fan of Michael Bay. Yeah, of course, his last Transformers movie was not all that great, but I get a kick out of his. Outside of his Transformers stuff, his earlier stuff is really awesome, and The Rock's definitely one of them. Alright, coming in at number 4 is Days of Thunder. Now, this is a really cool NASCAR-based film with, it is directed by Tony Scott, R.I.P. Tony Scott. You also got Tom Cruise, Michael Rooker, Carrie Ellis, Dakota, Tom Cruise's then wife, Nicole Kidman, was in this. She's just his girlfriend back then. I can't remember. But yeah, Days of Thunder is such a really cool inspiration, film. I mean, I'm not that much of a NASCAR guy, but even if you're not a NASCAR guy, you'll get a kick out of Days of Thunder. It's a cool underdog tale. Great performances by Cruise and of course Tom Cruise have appeared in a Jerry Bruckheimer produced film before. I'm gonna talk about that later on. But yeah, if you guys never seen Days of Thunder by now, give it a go. It's a really fun one. All right, coming in at number 3 is another Michael Bay film, and that is Bad Boys. Now, Bad Boys 3 comes out in January with Will Smith and Marlon Lawrence coming back, and Jerry Bruckheimer is also a producer on that one too. I mean, Bad Boys. Who doesn't love the Bad Boys films? They are just really dumb, fun, entertaining flicks. Marlon Lawrence and Will Smith. Of course, this was at the height of Will Smith's career when he did like a Fresh Prince and all. Bad Boys is just really cool. It is it is really a hilarious flick. Great. Of course, you also had Taylor Leone in the first film. Gabrielle Union was in the second one. The original Bad Boys was actually Michael Bay's first feature film, so there's that. Bad Boys is a really good one, and I cannot wait for it. It comes out in January, so. Alright. Coming in at number 2 is Beverly Hills Cop. Now, you've got Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley. You've got Judge Reinhold as his partner here. Beverly Hills Cop is my favorite Eddie Murphy film because not so long ago, actually this month, as a matter of fact, I did my 10 favorite Eddie Murphy movies, and spoiler alert, Beverly Hills Cop was number 1. Who doesn't love Beverly Hills Cop? Now, part 2 and 3 are cool too, but the original is still the best. It's just hilarious. Eddie Murphy, he is great as Axel Foley. He's just hilarious as that role. And it was pretty cool. It's an interesting Jerry Bruckheimer produced film because that's something about Bruckheimer. He's produced lots of interesting films. He's produced comedies. He produced action films. I think he produced horror films. I can't remember, but he did lots. He's produced lots of films for different genres, and Beverly Hills Cop is no exception. It is more of an action than just straight up comedy, but it's still partially comedy. And Beverly Hills Cop is just such an awesome one. Now, I'm hoping we get to see a fourth one, but that will actually be what I see. All right. Now, the best Jerry Bruckheimer produced film of all time is actually my favorite Tony Scott film, by the way. And that is... And not to mention, Tony Scott directed Beverly Hills Cop 2, or was it 3? I know he directed 1 and the 2, can't remember which one, but his best one is Top Gun. Tom Cruise as Maverick, you've got, lots of fire trucks out tonight. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, Top Gun is such a great one. It has an iconic volleyball scene. I mean, you have a soundtrack by Kenny Loggins. You've got Val Kilmer as Iceman. You've got Anthony Edwards. You've got Tom Skerritt, Tim Robbins, Meg Ryan, Kelly McGillis. Really cool air, fight simulator film. I mean, it's of course one of Tom Cruise's earliest films, the one that really put Tom Cruise into film stardom. And Jerry Bruckheimer is a producer on it, and Tony Scott directed it. It's a really great one. If you've never really seen Top Gun, give it a go. And not to mention, coming next year, we got Top Gun Mavericks coming out, and that is awesome. I believe Jerry Bruckheimer is also producing that, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Top Gun is such a great one. I mean, it's been years since Top Gun got released, so hopefully Top Gun Maverick will be good. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, Armageddon. 9, National Treasure. 8, Con Air. 7, American Gigolo. 6, Pirates of the Caribbean. 5, The Rock. 4, Days of Thunder. 3, Bad Boys. 2, Beverly Hills Cop. 1, Top Gun. Now, he's produced loads of other stuff over the years. He also did that. He was a producer of Lone Ranger. Not every film he's produced is a winner, so yeah. He also was a producer on Flashdance. Who remember that one? He was a producer on another Michael Bay film, Pearl Harbor, which let's see. He produced Black Hawk Down. He produced the not so good Jake Gyllenhaal film, Prince of Persia. He was a producer on another Will Smith film, Enemy of the State. He produced Gone in 60 Seconds, also with Nick Cage in it. He was a producer on Remember the Titans. He produced that not-so-good Nick Cage film, Sorcerer Supreme. He was a producer on not-so-good Chris Hemsworth movie, 12 Strong. He produced Coyote Ugly, odd film for him to produce. He was a producer on Kangaroo Jack. Who remember Kangaroo Jack? You know, Jerry O'Connell, Anthony Anderson, Talking Kangaroo. Come on, what not you like by that? Also, he produced Dangerous Minds. Come on, Michelle Pfeiffer. He produced that not-so-good film, G-Force. He produced that horrible Clive Owen King Arthur film. He's produced some pretty interesting stuff over the years. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Jerry Bruckheimer produced films? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is C Movie signing off.